few weeks after my surgery, I decided to just quit all social media. My reasoning then was that I really wanted to focus on my recovery, and I wanted to use this time to grow myself, to learn more things. You know, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do any exercise. So I was like, why not just read as much as I can, write content ideas, and a lot of these ideas that you're going to be watching in this channel over the next months and hopefully years is these ideas that I came up with when I was recovering in surgery. So that was the main reason. I just didn't want that as a distraction, because it would have been so easy for me just to get lost in watching shows and just scrolling on TikToks and Reels and whatever. I feel like it would have been so easy for me to get lost in that and waste all that time. But no, I decided I need to delete this stuff and I need to just focus on bettering myself. And initially it was a bit of a struggle. I would reach for my phone and like, oh, I'm gonna go on Instagram quick to check, and the app wasn't there. Luckily I have enough self-control to not go back and install these apps. Like, I've heard from a lot of friends who have tried multiple times to quit social medias, and they take the first step, they uninstall the app only to reinstall it a couple days later. And there's no shame in that. I understand that it's hard. It was hard for me, but I'm just very blessed that I've worked super hard on my self-control, that once I deleted them, they were gone from my phone. And that could take a long time. It takes a lot of discipline. It could take a lot of time for you to build up. And there were a lot of benefits. There were tons of benefits when I quit that I realized. Suddenly my expectations became more realistic. I still had these crazy dreams of being wildly successful, and I'm always going to have those. They're never going to leave. I would celebrate the smaller goals more. I would set these smaller goals, and when I'd achieve them, I'd actually be happy. I'd get joy out of the little things. And I feel like seeing all these famous people show all the glamour of their life, and when you really think about it, these people are the 0.0000001% of the population. There is very little chance that we're ever going to be as successful as them. Yet that's what we see mainly on social media. It's a misrepresentation of what the world actually is. So these small goals that I would set for myself and I'd hit just meant so much more. Even just when I was recovering, getting my first couple of steps, that shit made me emotional. And I think that's directly just from setting my own expectations and just not looking to compare myself with anyone else. Replacing the habit of scrolling with reading and writing obviously was a huge benefit for me. Oh my god, I've learned so much in this last year that I've been reading, and I've just created some amazing ideas that I can't wait to share with you guys. That's all because I put down the phone, I put down social media, and through that, all this amazing stuff was born.
So how could quitting social media be a mistake? You know, people talk about all of the horrible things that come with social media, the expectations that you get from watching other people only post their greatest achievements, the false standards that we try to live up to, the overconsumption of content. All these things are horrible. So why on earth would I sit here and say that quitting social media is a mistake? And I can't say this applies for everyone. This is my own personal experience. But I feel like the way that I quit social media was a huge mistake because it ended up isolating me. You know, I didn't have a lot of friends to begin with. But the way that I kept in contact with them was through social media. I would see their posts, and we'd comment on each other's posts, or I'd reply to their stories, and just letting that go, I think I lost a lot of friends. A lot of people might have thought that I was ghosting them, or I just didn't care about them anymore, and I feel like they just decided to unfollow me or leave, and not really care about me anymore. And that went from me already not having a lot of friends to being almost virtually friendless. At 22, I can say that I really don't have many friends. It's hard for me to consider what's a friend and what's not, you know, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I have 0 friends, but at times it really feels like I don't have any. In part because I just decided to up and quit social media without letting anyone know. Another huge thing that I missed out on was the opportunities. You know, I'm trying to be a stuntman. I'm trying to get these acting gigs just to grow my stock. A lot of these opportunities come across on Facebook groups, or friends of friends will come out with an opportunity for acting, for stunt work. Through not being online, I missed all these amazing opportunities that I could have had. But out of the hundreds and hundreds of opportunities that I missed, I bet at least one would have said yes. And that to me is enough of a mistake already. I feel like I missed out on a lot of my friends' huge life moments. A lot of people graduated, people, which is crazy at my age, are having kids already and getting engaged, and I missed all of that. And I feel like I was saying before, how maybe they saw that I didn't react to it, they didn't comment to that, and they maybe thought that I didn't care, When in reality, I just missed it. I just missed these moments because I thought that I was doing the right thing for myself. Social media does have a lot of real problems. We all know this. We hear about this all the time. The biggest one for me is the need for validation. And I struggled with this one so much. You have no idea. I'd post something and I'd sit there scrolling to see who liked it, and I'd compare it to my previous posts, and I'd see who commented, and I was so obsessed. I'd be refreshing, waiting for more people to like. I just wanted that validation so bad. And you know what's the worst part of it? The way I treat likes is different. I would like things on social media when I truly liked it and I appreciated it. I would hit like. Besides that, I rarely would hit the like button on someone's post. I come to find out that most people just double click on every single post that comes across their feed. So these likes that I'm looking for to give me validation, a lot of them are just like a person looking at it for half a second, okay, and then moving on. So I don't know why I put so much weight into that. I think the biggest, I know I just said the last one was the biggest, but the biggest problem with socials isn't really the social aspect, it's the reels, the TikToks, the shorts. In my opinion, and you don't have to share this opinion with me, that shit is complete brain rot. Like, I think scrolling endlessly, having all these different emotions poured out of you, it can't be good for you. Doing that for days and days on end just kind of messes up your dopamine receptors and how you perceive emotions, because you're going through all these emotions 10 seconds at a time. I just think shorts and reels are one of the worst things you can possibly consume. And I would get stuck on those for so long. And that was honestly the biggest reason why I quit, why I deleted Instagram, why I deleted Facebook, is to stay away from that shitty content. I think overconsumption of content is a huge problem. For me personally, as a content creator, I tend to struggle with I call the teeter-totter of creating and consuming. So this doesn't really apply for many people, but I really try to focus a lot more on creating content than consuming it because I've struggled so much. That teeter-totter for me has gone both ways, and honestly it's always been on the wrong side for the most part. I struggled with it so much because once you get started on a reel, you just get stuck scrolling over and over and over again to the point where you lose 2 or 3, 4 hours a day, and that compounded across years. I mean, people lose months and months and years of their life through watching just garbage content that offers nothing. It really, like, a lot of this content, this short content offers absolutely nothing. It's sad that somehow we get sucked into just watching these things, and it's disappointing that it's taken me this long not only to realize this, but to try to, like, you know, do something about it. Apart from just getting stuck on this consumption of content, a big problem I think too is expectations that we set on ourselves based off of the people that we see online. A lot of popular, famous people, they post, you know, all the glamour of their life, and they make it seem like their life is perfect, and they make it very desirable for us that just live, you know, the average life. And a lot of us have a big struggle, and I'm including myself in this. A lot of us struggle to separate that from reality, and then we tend to set our expectations to try to meet their achievements. The average person isn't going to reach that level of success, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't ever aim for that success. You should always try to reach for the clouds. Try to achieve the greatest things that you can. But the people that we see online are on a different level, and we should never try to compare ourselves to them.
So what is my solution to all this? I can't sit here and say that my solution is going to work for everyone, but it was very effective for me in the way that I live my life. The first thing I did was just delete all the social media apps from my phone. I don't think that you need to have those apps on your phone when they're perfectly accessible on a laptop. And I feel like for me personally, it was a lot harder for me to get stuck on reels or go look at garbage if I'm looking at my laptop. So I looked at my screen time, and I made it a goal to replace all that time with positive hobbies that are going to improve me as a person. For me, it was reading, writing. For you, it could literally be anything. It could just anything from like yoga to going for a walk to even just like being mindful for a second. I feel like a lot of us, we avoid being mindful. We avoid being in our own thoughts, and I think that's really damaging. So whatever works for you, whatever hobby works for you, try to replace your screen time with that. But like I said, this isn't about quitting social media outright. I think you should still have it, but you have to use it with intent. You have to have a reason why you're going on there. Don't just go on there because you're bored and trying to burn time. That's the worst thing you could do. That's why I said have these hobbies that you can replace that time with. For me, it was like, I'd go on social media to reach out to someone specific because I didn't have their number yet. I'd go on social media to list something on Facebook Marketplace, to look over casting calls and see if I had any opportunities available for me. You can still have social media, but you have to use it the right way. You have to use intent. Keeping in contact with people is a huge one. That's one of the biggest excuses that I hear from people when I ask them why they don't just quit social media. They're like, oh, well, I text all my friends on Snapchat, I text all my friends on Instagram. Is it really that hard just to ask for their number? And I understand that not a lot of people text anymore. It's weird. Everyone only talks to each other on socials. I guess I understand, there's stories, there's posts, so people will reply to your story and spark up a conversation, or they'll message you about your post. And that makes sense to me. I feel like while it is weird to just text someone out of the blue, I think we should normalize that. I think you should be okay with just messaging a friend, how you're doing, update me on your life. Like, that should just be an okay thing to do. I understand that it's difficult when there's not a post or a story that you can reference to spark up that conversation in the first place. But the best thing that I can recommend is just get all of your friends' numbers and try to get them to only text you on there.
So in conclusion, like I said, I'm not sitting here and saying that you should stay on social media and keep abusing it and keep over-consuming content. No, this is not the point of this video. The point of the video is that, yeah, you should quit social media, but do it the right way. Don't do what I did. Learn from my experience. The way that I quit was a huge mistake. I feel like I missed out on a lot of potential opportunities. I feel like I lost friends, lost connections, and yeah, I did have some benefits. I stopped over-consuming content. My expectations for my own life sort of shifted and they became more realistic. If you quit the right way, you can achieve all those benefits without any of the downside. Like I said, this is my personal story. I don't know if it's going to work for you. It worked for me. I hope wherever you are in your journey with social media and phone addiction and all that stuff, I hope that this video gives you some sort of insight, helps you sort of lean a way or the other, and I hope you find what you're looking for, and I hope you can find some peace. The big thing I want to just leave off with is don't compare yourself to anyone. Set your own expectations and try to create more than you consume. Thank you.